Yes, sometimes debates in the National Assembly get very interesting indeed, with politics coming to play when all appears to fail. Still staying with the House of Representatives, the meeting between the two ministers and the lawmakers on federal pension liabilities. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, the Minister of Finance, and members of their team making their way into the House of Representatives chamber. They're here to brief the lawmakers on the steps being taken to tackle the pension liabilities of federal pensioners. Addressing the House, the Minister of Budget and National Planning says the government is trying to reconcile its records and is determined to pay each pensioner their entitlement.
The Minister of Finance will have to look at creative ways, because we don't have the money, but that the entitlement must be met. They must be. That is a requirement. However, we have limited resources. So part of what this committee is going to look at is going to look at creative ways of meeting maybe some promissory bills or some other creative ways. But we must, every pensioner must be paid. And that is the directive. So I ask for your understanding. This is a top #1 priority for this administration.
The minister says a special committee has been set up on this matter, and the committee is expected to come up with creative ways of meeting the funding needs of government. The Minister of Finance touched on action already being taken.
Having said that, yesterday we released the sum of 42 billion to clear all the arrears. Everything that has been appropriated up to date has now been paid. I also would like to tell you that PATAD are completely up to date in terms of payment of those who are enrolled. So it is a problem, but there is a lot of progress that has been made in the area of pensions, and I think it's only fair to say that. But let me shed light on why we have this big problem, and it's largely, it's actually concentrated to a number of areas. But having said that, this is not just a federal government problem. There's actually also a problem in the state governments with pensions and gratuities. So it's actually a national problem. So calling us together like this, I think, is actually a very good move.
What we got from the two honorable ministers, especially from the Minister of Finance, was simply buck passing. Yes. This government has been in power, our government, yes, for 2 years. Yes. We cannot come here. Please, I don't want to hear any yes. I'm 15. What are you doing now? And in your statement here, you said even in last year's budget, we had deficit, which means what happens before is what we are experiencing in this, our change government. Yes. Nigerians deserve better.
I think it's wrong for anybody to say that we are passing the buck, but it is a fact that we inherited a problem. That's a fact. It can't be disputed and it cannot be denied. Part of the money that was released yesterday relates to 2014. We're in 2017. This increase was from 2010, but no appropriation was made until 2014. If you recall. So those arrears actually, again, if I say it's from the past, I'll be shouted down, but it's from not this period.
The national president of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners appreciates the efforts of the federal government, but cautions with a warning.
We want you to continue like that. You know, 2019 is coming. We have thousands of votes. Some of us have 4 wives, some of us 3 wives, some of us 2 wives, but I have 1 wife. But we have relations whom we can tell, vote for this, don't vote for this.
Rounding up the session, the Speaker wants government to ensure that this pension issue is addressed once and for all.
We will not ask
accept any excuse that leaves part of these pension funds hanging. When the president made a commitment that he was going to release money to states to bail out states so that they can pay backlog of salaries and pensions, it happened. Even though we were in the midst of a very biting recession. Now the president has said this issue of pension must be solved. I don't know where we got the money to bail out the states from. Wherever we got that money from, that is where we're going to get the money to solve these problems. And for the ministers who are representative of the president, I believe you won't make him break his word, because it's a word that we cherish. I want to believe that this will be the last intervention we'll be having with regards to the issue of pensions in this country. That is my charge.
The ministers are expected to complete their work on the total figure needed to pay the pension arrears as soon as possible. They will then work with the National Assembly to ensure that the 2017 budget captures these figures.